Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
What is something that can kill you instantly, which not many people are aware of? Huffing or sniffing inhalants. It could be your 1000th time, or your very first. Asphyxiation is no joke and not worth the risk for a short high. Someone I went to school with was huffing regularly, so she knew the possible effects, and tried driving. She passed out and ended up in a head-on collision, killing the other driver. This was 10 years ago and she is just now up for parole but still has 10 more years on her sentence. Shit's no joke. Huffing and driving sounds like a lot of work. The only intervention episode that truly frightened me with how the person acted was one where the guy was addicted to keyboard cleaner. Like, I was truly scared of how he sounded when high on the inhalant. He went to treatment and got sober, but you can tell it just absolutely fried his brain and there was going to be no recovering from that. At first I thought you were going to say the walking on sunshine girl. That was so sad to watch. Infected tooth. Many people may ignore it due to the cost of going to the dentist, but the proximity of your teeth to the brain, neck, sinuses, etc. can cause the infections to spread quickly into your head and cause encephalitis, which is often deadly. Yep, it can also lead to endocarditis. I took care of several patients who needed heart transplants where the root cause of their heart failure was likely an infected tooth. Editing to add, this is taken so seriously that every heart transplant patient requires a dental workup before heart transplant. Any teeth that are high risk for infection must be extracted. I took care of many patients who had most or all of their teeth pulled before transplant. I had no idea about this before I worked with transplant patients. Love that my insurance considers them luxury bones. Removed. Bleach and rubbing alcohol as well. Mixing bleach with any chemical can create a toxic chlorine gas, e.g. dish soap, vinegar, pinosol, Lysol. Me dumping bleach on the floor of my garage after some cats kept missing the litter boxes I had out there. Wait. Chemical warfare, that's a war crime, sir. Poking around inside the electronics of a microwave. As someone who worked in IT for a short stint, capacitors in general. It's wild how much of a charge something so small can hold. I learned hard way after exactly one small capacitor. It was a tiny one in a portable camera and it packed a huge punch. I thought I was being safe too, and it took on mistake to learn to be twice as careful as I thought I needed to be. Yep, specifically capacitors. Thought this would be higher. Yep, that capacitor in there is no joke. It will kill you before you notice you touched it, kind of thing. People on YouTube will say things like there is a discharge circuit to keep this from happening, but the truth is that, if you are taking a microwave apart, it's probably because it's not working for some reason, right? Maybe the discharge circuit isn't working correctly at that point. The transformers within microwaves can be quite murderous as well. People making wooden artwork with microwave transformers are electrocuted frequently. The spring on a garage door. About 3-ish years ago our garage stopped closing fully, realized it was the spring and it seemed like an easy fix. The spring was jammed and the line appeared to have a lot of slack in it. No problem, I thought. I start working on it, no prior experience by the way, and didn't watch a YouTube video. And all of a sudden the clasp that I loosened the screws on comes spinning at an ungodly rate. Sliced my arm open a bit. We had a repairman come a few days later and he told me how lucky I was to only have had that injury. I seriously had no idea. It looked so simple and harmless. It seems so simple but only takes a second for it to go horribly wrong. We had one snap at our old house. Heard a loud boom in the middle of the night and figured out what it was in the morning. Thankfully nobody was around. Is anyone else here because they have anxiety and can't stop searching for things to be scared of? Just me? No, but everything in these threads sets my anxiety off, lol. A ruptured brain aneurysm. It's a silent killer. Most people don't even know they have one until it bursts, causing instant unconsciousness or death. Scary how something so small can be so deadly. When my father had his, I asked the doctor if it was hereditary. He explained you're basically born with a weak spot that might give out on you or it might not, but doing certain things like too much caffeine or nicotine raises the chances. It stressed my siblings and myself out so badly we had to go grab coffee and step outside for a smoke to calm our nerves. That's how my husband died on our 1-year wedding anniversary. We were water skiing. He went down, not injured, just went limp. We got to shore. Carried him to car and went to emergency room. It was less than a mile away. He couldn't walk or talk. He didn't make it. He was only 22. I'm so sorry for your loss. How are you doing now? I just recently lost an acquaintance this way. She went to yoga class, came home, felt a little off, and, done, falls over dead. Seize the day, tomorrow may not arrive for you. My friend's dad was a yoga instructor and artist. In fantastic shape, died of an aneurysm in the middle of the night in his early 60s. There's just no rhyme or reason to why he died, but some old guy in the hills can eat bacon and coffee and whiskey and cigarettes for breakfast and live to his 90s. Same happened to my coworker's only daughter. She was 27, her and her fiancé were at her parents' having dinner. She said she felt sick, like she was going to throw up, and ran to the bathroom. They heard a thud and she never responded back when they were yelling to her asking if she was okay. My coworker is still traumatized today over it 30 years later. My sister was treated by a psychiatrist for schizophrenia. Long story short, few months later get into the hospital for an MRI, cause intense headaches. She had an aneurysm that pushed her eye nerves, so that's why she saw things. Lucky detected on time and treated. Taking selfies on the edges of cliffs and leaning further out than necessary. When I went to Yellowstone, it seemed many people weren't aware that can get you killed. I don't know how people do it. As soon as I get within about 6 feet from a big drop, my body feels top heavy. Like I'm one of those caricature drawings with the giant head and little legs. When we visited the Grand Canyon, they had a book titled, Death in the Grand Canyon. The chapters were broken up by how they died, like hypothermia or falling from the ledge. It was stunning the amount of drunk people that died walking out of one of those rim bars and trying to pee into the canyon. Slipping in a shower. 2 years ago I fell forward in the shower, shaving my leg, and bumped my forehead so hard and so quickly that I heard the thud before I knew what was happening. I went to the ER with a friend, and the doctor told me I was lucky to have fallen forward. Small concussion for a month or so, and I was fine. I mean, tennis ball-sized lump for a few weeks and a black eye, but mostly fine. The ER doc said, if you'd fallen backwards, I'd be having a much different conversation with your next of kin. Yikes, I never realized just how much thicker the front of our skulls are versus the back. Fall forward, folks. Face planting could save your life. Edit since this is getting seen. Listen, folks, if you bash your head in anything more than an ouch that hurt way, you need to be seen by a doctor. Natasha Richardson and Bob Saget both died after head traumas that they thought were nothing. You can have a brain bleed or other brain injury so easily. Please, just go and be seen by a professional. It's not just about skull thickness. If you look at brain anatomy, the back area controls a lot of the more primitive functions like breathing or telling you heart to pump. You'd be in bad shape damaging that area compared to, let's say, an area elsewhere that helps you do advanced mathematical calculations. This, my freshman year in high school, one of the most popular and kind kids accidentally slipped in the shower and died. It was very tragic. Apparently it is way more common than people realize. It still amazes me that the human body can survive being ran over, set ablaze, and falling off of a roof, all in certain instances of course, but the moment your brain takes a blow, the whole system just shuts down. It's like killing the controller of a robot. Truly tragic how quick death can be. Not waking up right away to feed your cat. My cat wrote this. Obvious, but sure doesn't seem like it from people's behavior, but driving. Be safe. Go with the speed of traffic, use turn signals, practice defensive driving, use seatbelts. Waiting the extra 2 seconds to check can save your life. Cervical, neck adjustment, from a careless chiropractor. They can too easily tear one of the 4 main arteries that form the circle of Willis at the base of your brain case, causing a hemorrhagic stroke. I worked for a neurologist for several years as a nurse. Not always deadly, but can be. Saw several 20-somethings lose the ability to speak as well. Scary stuff. Chiropractors are quacks, there's no reason to go to one. Everything that works in chiropractic isn't unique to chiropractic. Everything that doesn't work in chiropractic is. Paraphrased Steven Novella, neurologist and podcaster from Skeptic's Guide to the Universe. They often try to present themselves as actual medical experts. But of course, without the actual training or knowledge. Shittier versions of physical therapist at best, actually harmful charlatans at worst. My friend's perfectly healthy mom died from a neck adjustment. She said she felt a sharp pain. Then she suffered an artery dissection and died of a brain bleed. I was in physical therapy for herniated discs, and at one point the PT assistant had me lie on my back and she pulled, pretty gently, on the base of my skull, I guess to alleviate pressure or something. By the next day my entire lower body was numb, couldn't feel my legs or groin. I ended up in the ER where, to check just how bad the loss of sensation was, a surgeon had to stick a finger up my ass to see if I'd be able to move the muscles. I did end up getting the feeling back, but it left me so freaked out by anyone fucking with my neck. I thought I would be fine because I don't go to chiropractors and this was a real physical therapy office, but nope. Numb limbs and an arse-full of stranger fingers. Can you give me a referral to that surgeon? I haven't felt anything up my ass in like a week. This should be reported way more than it is, and if it happens the chiros should be tried in court for murder. Hitting a moose while driving a car. The hood hits their legs and the huge mass of their body smashes the windshield, crushing you. That was the answer in driver's ed for what animal would do the most damage to a car if you hit it. It was not the answer I gave, and I still stand firmly by you would do a lot more damage hitting a whale than a moose. This made me laugh out loud at work. Tears of joy. Extra funny. BC moose, meese, can be hunted by orcas occasionally. That's why Swedish have a moose avoidance test. It even has an ISO number, ISO 3888-2. It's also the reason why Mercedes had to recall the A-Class when it first came out, because it failed spectacularly. Respect for someone who can quote ISO like they live it. I once heard a story of a guy in Canada who killed a moose with his car and didn't even know he hit it. The car was some tiny thing, like a Mini or something, and he drove right under it without seeing it. The car scraped under the torso, breaking its ribs and killing it, while minorly indenting the roof. The Mounties found the moose first and later found the guy who hit it. When a chunk of snow falls off your car roof, you can hear it. Buddy had to be partially deaf or half drunk not to notice.